Consumer loans and mortgages. It's always good to know how the loans work. So we have example. A student wants to buy a computer for 1,600. The store offers a loan requiring 5% down payment and monthly payments of $75 for 3 years. Calculate the amount of down payment, calculate the amount that needs to be financed, how much will the student pay over 3 years, what is the amount of interest paid to the store. So part A, calculate the amount for down payment. Down payment is 5%. 5%, we need to calculate 5% of 1,600. So part A, 5% we change to decimal. 5 divided by 100 is 0.05. How do we calculate 5%? How do we calculate 5% of 1000? We simply multiply this out, right? So we have 0.05 times 1,600, and that gives us $80. So the down payment is $80. Now, part B, calculate the amount that needs to be financed. So how much money we need to borrow from the store, or from the bank or financial institution. If the computer cost is 1,600 and we need to put down $80, so we simply subtract 1,600 minus 80, and that gives us $1,520. So the amount that needs to be financed is the $1,520. Now, how much will the student pay over 3 years? So the students pay $75 every month, monthly payment. So first year he pays 12 times, 12 months in first year, second year another 12 months, and then third year another 12 months. So how many times he pays? Part C, we're gonna have 12 times 3 years. So monthly payment is 12 times 3 years. 12 times 3 is 48 times he pays of $75. So now we can multiply this times 75. And that gives us 2,700. So he pays in installment 2,700, but he also gave the $80 to the bank. So now we can add this $80. So how much the student paid? Total is $2,780 he paid over the 3 years. Now, what is the amount of interest paid to the store? So the computer cost 1,600. The student already pay 2,780. So how much the store earn in interest? We simply subtract 2,780 minus the cost of the computer. So that gives me $1,180. So the interest paid to the store is the difference between what student pay and what was the original cost. Example 2. David wants to buy a used car for $7,500. The dealership requires a 10% down payment and offers a loan with monthly payments of $240 for 4 years. How much is the down payment? What is the amount to be financed? What is the total amount David pay over the loan period over 4 years? And how much interest will be paid? So part A, for the down payment is 10% of 7,500. How do we calculate? We change to decimal 0.1 or 0.10 times 7,500, and that gives me 750. So the down payment is $750. What is the amount to be financed? So the difference between the cost and how much is already put down deposit. So we have 7,500 minus 750, and that gives us 6,750 in dollars, we can say it. So this amount needs to be financed. Now part C, how much David pays. He pays monthly for 4 years. So we have how many months in a year? We have 12 months times 4 years times the amount, which is 240. So he pays in total $11,520 plus the amount that he already put down as a first time payment, right? So then we have plus 750. So he paid to the store $12,270. That's the amount he will pay over the period of the loan. So how much the dealership earn from the interest, then we see the difference between what you paid and the original price. What was the original price? So for part D, we have 12,270 minus 7,500, and that gives us $4,770. So this is the interest that we pay when we borrow the car on this condition. Example 3. A family is building a swimming pool that costs $20,000. They take a loan with 25% down payment and agree to monthly payments of $350 for 6 years. How much is the down payment? What is the loan amount? What is the total amount the family will pay for the pool? And how much interest is paid? So as before, we need to change 25% to decimal. So 25 divided by 100, it's 0.25. To calculate the down payment, we have the percentage 0.25 times the amount original cost times $20,000. So that gives us exactly 5,000. So part B, what is the amount of loan? If we put down 5,000 and we need to have it 20,000, so how much we need to finance would be 20,000 minus 5,000 what we already deposit. So it's 15,000 is our loan. Part C, how much we pay. Monthly payments for 6 years. Each year we pay 12 times, right? Monthly payment. So we have 12 times 6 times the amount 350. So we pay 25,200. But now we already deposit 5,000. So this amount we need to add plus 5,000. So the family for the swimming pool with the finance is gonna pay 30,200. And how much is the interest paid, or how much is the store makes on us, on the family? So in that case, we have this what we paid minus the original cost. So part D, we have 30,200 minus 20,000. So this is equal 10,200. This is the interest paid to the store. Now we have the monthly payment formula for a loan. So payment monthly over time. There is a function on a calculator or a computer that calculates the monthly payment. This is the formula. A is amount of the loan. R is the interest rate, or sometimes call it APR, annual percentage rate. N is the number of payment per year, and T is the number of years. So suppose you have a 10,000 student loans to pay off after college. The APR is 6% and the loan term is 15 years. What are your monthly payments? So we pretty much using this formula. But the whole formula is pretty hard to enter. We would break it down into certain parts. So first I would calculate what is R over N. My R is 6%, in decimal would be 0.06 divided how many times per year, N is how many numbers per year. We do monthly, so it's 12. So this is equal to 0.05. I'm sorry, 0.005. 0.005. Now, maybe we can calculate this n times t, and then perhaps we want to calculate this part. So n times t is 12. How many times per year? 12 times. And t is for how many years? For 15 years. So this amount is 180 if we multiply this on calculator. Then maybe let's calculate this part first. So would be 1 plus r over n to this exponent. So let's calculate 1 plus r over n to the power n minus t. So 1 plus, we already calculated n over r over n, which is this amount. So we have 0.005 to the power minus, and n times t, we have 180 to the power 180. So 1 plus 0, this one, to the power n. So we would have it, this is equal to 1.005 to the power minus 180. Use the power button and make sure you put maybe in parentheses if needed. And I'm getting that this is 0.40748 and something. Typically keep it 6, 8 decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 8 is always good. Until the last answer. The last we would round it to the nearest cents. So now we can use the whole formula. Now we can use the whole formula, which would be A is my 10,000, and then we keep substituting what we have. So we have 10,000 times, then we have n over r, we calculated right here. So we have 0.005 divided by, we have 1 minus, and this whole part we already calculated right here. So this is my amount, 0.40748. And then we subtract 1 minus this amount. So I'm getting 10,000 times 0.005 divided by, and I'm getting 0.592518 Then we would divide those two. So we have 10,000 times 0.008438562 and multiply this times 10,000, and my final answer is 83.385622 and so on. So to the nearest sense, look at the next one is 5 or more, so we need to increase it. So the monthly payment is $83.39. This is on a 10,000 loan for 15 years according to this. Now, a loan for a house is called a mortgage. Usually that loan has around 30, 15, 20 years time, and it's big amount for the house. Example 5. Assume that we want to take a mortgage, a loan for $250,000 at 3% interest for 30 years. How much will your monthly payment be? What is the total amount you will pay? What is the amount of interest paid? So for monthly payment, we need to use this formula. Let's do it in parts. First, let's calculate R over N. So R over N is going to be equal, R is the percentage, 3% in decimal is 0.03 divided by how many times the mortgage is calculated. It's monthly, so divided by 12. And that gives me 0.0025. Now let's also calculate N times T. So that would be N times T. That would be 12 months times 30 years. And that gives me 360. Okay, then we can keep calculating this part. So 1 plus R over N to T. So we would have 1 plus R over N to the power minus nt, and this gonna be equal 1 plus r over n. We already calculated here. It's 0.0025 to the power minus 360. Nt we already calculated here. It's 360. So this is equal to, if you type everything on the calculator, we should get 0.407025. And once we had this part calculated, we can keep going with the monthly payment. So PMT is equal, the A is the initial amount, or like the amount that we want a mortgage, 250,000. Times R over N. R over N is this amount. So we have 0.0025 divided by 1 minus, and this part we already calculated, 1 minus, and this part we have right here. So we're gonna have it 0.407025. Usually keep several 6 digits or more until the last answer. Then we can round it to the whole cents to avoid rounding errors. So this is equal to 250,000 times, and we have 0.0025 divided by, and we subtract 1 minus this amount, and that gives me 0.592973. So this is equal to 250,000 times 0.004216,044 And if I multiply this out, I'm getting 1054 and 01 cents. So this is the monthly payment, 1054 and 1 cents. So this is my part A, what is my monthly payment. And now for part B, what is the total amount you will pay? So we had 30 years and we paying every month, so times 12. So for part B, we have 12 months times 30 years times the amount we pay, 1054 and 1 cent. So if we multiply this completely, we getting 379,443 and 33 cents. So this is the total amount that we will pay for the mortgage over 30 years. Now for part C, what is the amount of interest paid? So this is what we paid over 30 years. Subtract the amount, the original amount, and that would be what we paid to the bank, 250,000. So if we subtract this, we're gonna have 63344 9 7 minus 5 is 2 and 1. So this is the amount we pay to the bank, 129,443 and 36 cents. Example 6. A couple wants to buy a house with 300 mortgage. They are considering two options. Option A, a 30-year fixed rate loan with an annual interest rate of 4.1% and a monthly payment of 1,446 and 3 cents. Or option B, a 15-year fixed rate loan with an annual interest rate of 3.5. Calculate the total amount paid and the total interest for option A. Calculate the monthly payment for option B and the amount paid and total interest. So for part A, they gave us already the monthly payment. So we only need to calculate how much we pay, total amount paid. So if we pay for 30 years, so part A, 30 years, how many times per year? 12, and times the payment, 1,446 and 3 cents. And this gives me 520,570 and $80. So this is the total amount paid for option A. How much is interest paid? So we subtract the total for mortgage, 300, so minus 300,000 of course, and we getting that we're gonna pay the interest 220 and 570 and 80 cents. So the interest paid is 220,000 for part A. For part B, we need to first calculate the monthly payment. So we're using the PMT formula. So let's calculate R over N first. R over N would be R is 0.035 divided by how many times 12? So I'm getting 0.0029 and 17. Now 15 years times 12, that gives me 180. So my PMT would be the loan 300,000 times 0.002917 divided by 1 minus 1 plus 0.002917 to the power minus 180. So perform this gives me, add them first together, 1 plus this one, add them together, it's 1.00279, and raise it to the power minus 180. Use parentheses, both that one too. So we have it, monthly payment is 300,000, 0.002917 divided by 1 minus 0.591972. Then we would subtract those two. So we have 300,000 0.002917 divided by 0.408028, and when we divide those two together, we getting 300,000 times 0.007149, and when we multiply them together, the monthly payment becomes 2,144 and 71 cents. So this is the monthly payment. Now, what is the total amount paid for this option B? Would be 15 years, how many times per year, times 12, times the monthly payment, 2,144 and 71 cents. So that gives us 386 and 386,047 and 80 cents. This is the total amount we pay. How much is the interest? So minus 300,000 for the amount of the mortgage. So the interest on this loan is only 86,047 and 80 cents. Example 7. A small business owner is financing 15,000 for new equipment. They have two loan proposals. Proposal A, 3-year loan with 5.5 APR and this monthly payment, or Proposal 2, 2-year loan, 4.8 APR and this monthly payment. What is the total amount paid and the total interest paid for Proposal A and Proposal B? So for part A, total amount, how many years we have for Proposal A? 3 years. So 3 times how many months? We have 12 months times the monthly payment. So times 452 and 12 cents. And that gives me 16,276 and 32 cents. We subtract so this is the total amount paid. This is the total amount paid. Now, what is the interest paid? So we need to subtract the amount that financing amount 15,000, and the interest is the interest is 1,276 and 32 cents. For part B, the total amount is how many years? We have 2 years, so we're gonna have 2 times how many times per year monthly, so 12 times the amount 65807 times the monthly payment, and that gives us 15,793 and 68 cents. And if we subtract the original amount minus 15,000, the interest is only 793 and 68 cents.